Have you experienced parts of Ark that just don't seem quite right and would benefit from a little tweak? Well, I have found the mod for you, which you need to add to your next Ark playthrough. Today, we are reviewing the mod QoL Plus by Void Ark, available for both PC and console. As the name suggests, this mod adds a lot of different quality of life features. Now, for some of you ASE players, it may seem quite similar to the original S Plus mod. However, because parts of that mod were added into ASA by the devs, this mod brings the rest of that and a little bit more. So to get through this mod, I'm going to break it into 3 different sections: tools, structure changes, and new structures. So to start with, we have 2 different types of tools, the multi-tool and the omni-tool. Let's use the multi-tool first. So if we activate this, we get this pistol. Now, if you click the R key, as long as you've not changed your settings, you'll get this menu. Now we have 5 different menus within this menu, or sub-menus, shall we say, which we'll go through quickly. So, structure. Basically, the 2 options here, if you right-click, are pick up and demolish. Basically does what it says. If you have demolish on and shoot it at a foundation or any kind of object, demolishes it, gives you the items, and if you do pick up, picks it up and puts it in your inventory. This is great for doing anything long range, like some really tall builds or anything like that. Just makes life a whole lot easier. Then if we go on to Dino mode, there's actually a lot in here. So you've got, start from the beginning, is obviously kill. This will kill any of your tamed creatures. None of these work on wilds, it has to be tamed. So it'll kill any of your tamed creatures. Don't really want to kill my Karchar. So you have kill, you have spay, which obviously stops them from breeding. Then you have chibify, which will turn them into a chibi. You've also got mating, which obviously if you shoot 2 creatures will allow them to mate if they are within range of each other. Then you have whistles, you have following, wandering, creeping, and turret mode. So then moving on to remote. Remote we have basically just activate and deactivate, and what this does, as well as doors, sorry. And what these do is just activate your different objects. So obviously none of these are powered at the minute, but if they were powered, I could basically just activate them from afar and then deactivate them as well. And then a door basically allows me to open and close doors. Pretty simple stuff. Then we have repair mode. This is basically just allows you to repair from a distance. Obviously, you need to have the correct items in your inventory to repair this said item. But like I said, once again, just lets you do stuff, especially when building from afar, saving you have to try and get to the object every single time. And finally, right at the top, we have info. Now, if any of this you have forgotten, you can simply left-click this. It should tell you everything I've just told you, such as how to open the menu, the different types of modes, basically so you don't have to come back to this video in case you forget. Then, let's move on to the Omni tool. Now, this one's a little bit different. This is basically... Oh, I don't know why I've got no hands. This is basically helps with transferring. So, once again, if you right click, you'll have info, basic transfer, advanced transfer, and inventory assistant. Now, like I said, info, once again, if you click on that and left click, it will basically tell you everything here. Let me show you. So, basic transfer, pretty simple. You'll click on an object. It can be either a storage box. I don't know why these aren't working. But it could be a storage box or anything like that, which has items in it. There we go. So right click to set your source, and then if I left click on this storage box, everything that was in there is now moved into here. This is really good, especially if you're moving base or you've got stuff on your creatures, because it works on creatures also. So if you can right click a creature for a source, you can put it inside a storage box. Then advanced transfer is a bit different, a bit more crazy. So this will actually give you every source and every place that's possible in your area. And obviously if we move away, these won't be here. But it basically allows us to take all structures, and then you can actually go in here and choose what you want to move. So let's say wood, going from all structures, give it to me in my personal inventory, transfer, and you can see all the wood around, which was at 20 we moved before, is now in my inventory. This is really good for sorting, or if you have a lot of items and you can't figure out where you put some, this will save you a lot of time. This also works with dinos as well, so you can pull and give to them also. Then the inventory assistant, this basically allows you to keep your inventory nice and clean in case you get a load of stuff. So over your time, you'll get maybe a load of berries, maybe a load of oil, stuff like that. So basically all you can do is, let's say meadows for example. I'll go meadows, click on meadows, bring it across here. Now quantity to save, so if you want to say let's keep a stack of meadows, 100 meadows, you do that, and then basically once you choose through these, so you can do weapons, anything with a certain rarity, same with armor, same with saddles, skins, recipes, all that, and you can either choose to destroy or drop the item in a certain frequency, and always riding only or not riding. So now if I had meadows in my inventory, it would basically keep 100 and drop everything else. And that's basically both of the tools explained. But like I said, if you do forget any of this, there is the info section on each tool. Right, so I've shown you the tools. Let me show you some structure changes. Starting with these two, we'll come back to these in a second. So our large storage box and our normal storage box now has double the amount of storage. Pretty good. Moving on to the torches. This is the standing torch and the wall torch. Both can now be lit without the use of any wood, thatch or anything to light it. As you can see, it doesn't have an inventory for me to access, and it will stay lit. I know it says 4 days and 3 hours there, but it's just infinite. You can turn it on and off whenever you want. Moving on to the hitching post. Now obviously this is similar to the hitching post normally. They allow us to choose our dinos, so we can choose our Cartonodontosaurus thing. Basically glide, hitch him up, go in this, unhitch him. So this way you can select each one, making it a little bit easier. Also, other facts with the hitching post is any production dinos, so this is like Acatinas, dung beetles, anything like that, will still produce their items. And then anything attached to the hitching post will have a 25% reduction in both their mating and gestation. Then we have the beehive. This you'll need rare flowers to power, and this will basically give you some giant bee honey. Obviously that's how it works. So if I access this and take it, unlike the normal beehive, I won't be stung, meaning I'm a lot safer and don't have to deal with that stupid debuff. Also with this, it has a watering range, because this beehive will actually water your nearby crop plots. Great if you don't have any water nearby. Moving on to the air conditioner. This one is basically just more powerful than the normal ones, meaning you don't have to have as many around your base, meaning you don't have to use so many resources. Next, we have the feeding trough. Basically, this gives a much larger range than any other feeding trough. As you can see, that blue square in the distance, that's how far this range is. Absolutely insane. You'll probably need a couple of them around a base. Moving on to the grinder. Now, the grinder has increased amount of slots, but the main thing is it will allow you to convert items from different DLCs. So for extinction example, if I want to make element dust, I just need to break down element. For scorched earth, if I want to make preserving salts, I need salt and sulfur. That kind of thing. Aberration, if I want to make fungal wood, rare mushrooms and wood. Basically, it allows you to get some DLC items on any map, as long as you can get the other resources. Then, moving on to the fabricator. This has 300 slots instead of the usual 70. But that's about it. I haven't really found much else to do with that. Then we have the refrigerator. This will actually now allow you to refrigerate your organic polymers. So as you can see, I put it here, we've got half an hour. If I whack it in the old fridge, it's now got 2 days on it. Absolutely lifesaver. I hate getting organic polymer constantly. Now, with the tech replicator, the indie forge, the preserving bin, the fridge, and the fabricator, the mod description says you should be able to change the slot counts, the speed, you can even change the sound, the noise, but I can't figure out how to do that in-game. I believe that might be an INI setting type of thing, so if anyone knows that, then please let me know. Right, so let's go back to the items I skipped before. Here we have the dedicated storage. Now this is different to the normal dedicated storage because it will actually refrigerate your perishables. So if you put any kind of food or anything like that in there, it will be refrigerated, meaning it won't spoil as quick. And now a new item we have is the dedicated storage intake. This is pretty cool because it will actually connect to all your storages, and you'll simply be able to add items from this. So you can basically place this in the middle of your base and go to this instead of having to go to each dedicated storage. Now this can be changed to different sizes. You can have a really tiny one if you want it just hidden away, or you can have a pretty massive one. either way, I guess size does matter in this way. And you also have a range which can increase and decrease. So if you want certain ones to go to certain storages, you just have to play with the range. Now, to put items in, this is kind of cool. So you can either deposit, as you can see here, by clicking E, or you can simply just hit it. If I hit it, there you go. So there's 20 in there now. It's raw meat. I don't know why it's not showing the item at the minute. But you can also, as well as just doing it yourself, you can also do it with your dinos. So if I get Clyde to get right in there and get off, hopefully that's worked. Nope. Right, so I'm going to add this in because I'm a bit of an idiot. So the reason why the dino wasn't putting any items in here is because you have to actually enable it here. So this was disabled before. So now that I've enabled it, hopefully I will run into this. And there you go. You can see 209 items have been transferred. So yeah, that does work. I'm not a complete idiot, just a slight one. Anyway, moving on to other structures. Let's go over here. Now, these are the new structures that have been added to the game. But to start with, we'll go with the QoL converter. Now, this will basically allow you to convert any of the normal Ark items. So if you've made a normal standing torch or a normal grinder, you can put it in here and get the quality of life version. Basically, making it so you don't have to remake the thing when you accidentally make the wrong one to start with. I know I do this a heck of a lot when I have mods. Let's go left to right. So let's start with the metal storage box. This is basically just a bigger storage box with a metal durability, meaning it won't be damaged or destroyed as quickly. Then we have the ammo box. Obviously, the ammo box is released in Gen 1, I believe, usually. Could be Gen 2. I'm pretty sure it's Gen 1. And this basically will store and distribute your ammo to any nearby turrets. And you can come in here and adjust some things like the reload cap, as well as to enable the indicator, which will tell you which turrets or which items it's going to. Let me turn that off. There we go. Then we have the blueprint maker. This will basically allow you to take items and make them into blueprints. So if I give you an example, if I take this storage box and I head over here, whack it in there, click on that and convert to blueprint, and now have the blueprint version. Great if you've maxed out your character and you need some items, or also good just to have them there and around the base for other people to use. Moving on to our 3 new statues, which will be around the base. We have the farmer to begin with. Now, if you're powering him, you'll need either Kalian soup or a tech generator nearby. And basically what he will do is he will collect fertilizer, whether that's from a compost bin or from dung beetles, and then put it into any nearby crop plots, meaning you don't have to go around and do it all yourself. Then we have the gardener. She works in tandem with him, but will need beer or, once again, a tech generator to power, and she will basically collect all your crops from nearby crop plots whenever they are ready to be harvested. Finally, we have the nanny. She will basically be your one-stop shop for anything when it comes to babies. Now, as you can see, she'll give food to nearby babies which are under 15% maturation, because obviously after that point, they can go to the feeding trough. She'll also imprint any nearby non-adults, which hopefully will give you the chance of getting a full imprint on every single creature, whether you're there or not. Now, she only needs power, whether it's a tech generator or a normal generator, either will work. But one thing to remind you, and you need to make sure you remember about the nanny, is if you do not put any food in her inventory, she will have nothing to give to the babies. Okay? So even if you've got feeding troughs full or anything like that, if it's not directly in her inventory, she will not be able to feed, and your babies will starve to death. Okay? Make sure you don't forget that. Moving on to the propagator. Now, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So the propagator will require element to power. Now, it will require 1 element every single day, so it's not too bad. But this will basically allow you to breed creatures from cryopods. And now all creatures that are in the cryopods will still produce eggs, so don't worry about having to miss out on any kind of kibble or anything like that. That will still happen. But this will basically allow you to breed the creatures within the cryopods, as long as obviously you have opposite genders of the same dino. And this will basically not contribute to your tame limit. And what I mean by that is obviously every tribe has a tame limit. So instead of having to have thousands of creatures around your base causing lag and all that kind of things, you can basically just breed them up in here till your heart's content and basically pull out the ones that are actually half decent. And finally, we have the Mutator. This is a really cool piece of kit and it actually adds a lot of different things. So, as you can see, we have different modes, starting with Mutation Mode. Now, this will basically send out a pulse of radiation that causes nearby dinos to lay mutated eggs. Basically means that you have a much higher chance of a baby becoming mutated in a stat, which obviously is great for when you're trying to stack your mutations for boss fights. Now, obviously, it says this only works on adult creatures, so you basically, all you'll do is have your element in here, click that, and it will begin the mutation pulse. If we change, we also have swap gender. Now, this is pretty cool. This will actually change the gender of nearby creatures to the opposite. So, obviously, if you have 5 females, you've got no males, bring one over, press this button, and you'll have yourself a brand new male. Now, as it says, you will not be able to change it back for 6 hours, but hopefully in that time you would have found yourself your own male anyway. Next one is the assigned gender. Now this is cool because it will actually give a random gender to any nearby genderless creatures. Obviously this lasts 6 hours, so after 6 hours it will go back to its normal non-gender stat, but will basically allow you to start breeding creatures which aren't usually breedable. So this is stuff like Acatinas and all that kind of things. Next is allow breeding. Now this is similar to the gender one but slightly different, as this just grants the ability to breed for creatures that usually don't. Obviously, the main one of this is being wyverns. As you can't usually breed wyverns in this state, you will actually be able to. So, as it says here, just a quick warning, some dinos do not have a baby state and are birthed fully grown, and they will fall under the mesh unless they are elevated, so make sure you're being careful. Obviously, once again, doesn't affect mechs, corrupted dinos, or non-adult dinos. Next, we have the imprint pulse, and what this will basically do is any creatures within the area will then have an imprint to the player who started the pulse. So what I mean by this is if you have one person who does all your breeding, and you want to take a creature out but don't want to because you don't have the 100% imprint, you can basically activate this, and you will now be the 100% imprinted individual to that dino, which is really good and should definitely be used if you've got a large tribe. Next, we have freeze growth. This will basically stop any of your nearby baby dinos from aging. And obviously, you can remove this again by using the pulse again. But the main benefit for this is obviously any aged dinos will eat a lot slower than their normal rate, meaning you won't consume a whole lot of food. And finally, we have the boost growth. Complete opposite to the freeze growth. This will make your baby dinos grow a lot quicker, meaning you don't have to wait around for hours to get your fully tamed, 100% imprinted beauties of creatures. The positives for this mod is that it simplifies the experience, removing medial tasks like keeping torches lit and raising babies. The Omni tool transferring prevents the constant slow running when gathering items or trying to organize your base. The Mutator makes breeding a whole lot easier, and the Propagator is great for those bigger tribes. However, some negatives are that some items need more uses, like the Industrial Forge and Preserving Bin. Other items could benefit but haven't been included, such as the Chemistry Bench, and there's also no icons for some of the items, which I feel like needs to be added. So, my final thoughts are that this mod is perfect for any Ark player, whether PvP or PvE, as it makes life a little bit easier. I would definitely recommend it to the casual player as it removes small portions of the grind and base management aspects, and in my eyes this mod is a must have in any Ark playthrough, whether it is heavily modded or just a vanilla run with a few mods sprinkled on top. Now, as always, I will leave the link to the mod page at the top of the description for you to check out yourself. However, I was unable to find a Discord, but if any of you know what it is, then please leave it in the comments. At its current state, I would give Void Ark's QoL Plus mod a 7 Omni Tools out of 10. So let me know, have you tried QoL? Leave your thoughts on the mod in the comments below, and suggest other mods you want me to review. Now, if you've enjoyed this mod, don't forget to like and subscribe, as in the next review, we'll be looking at Shiny Dinos Ascended by Nevkariel.